Hey everybody, got a channel first for you today. I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to go through a brand new Sprinter fifth wheel from Keystone. This is an interesting little brand. They do a bunch of things very differently, and they kind of fit in between so much of the mainstream RV marketplace. It's a weird setup, but Sprinter kind of intentionally does things weird and different. And you might look at this and go, "Oh my gosh, finally somebody gets it." Or you might look at it and go, "This is stupid. Why would anybody build an RV this way?" Because it's intentionally done to be done differently. Now, there's no wrong opinion, so I want to hear you share what you think about these, good, bad, ugly, or in between. But what are we looking at? So they are a wide body RV. They're kind of an extended member of the Alpine Avalanche family, but they're not like a full on luxury model, but they have really smart points where it really matters. I kind of call it in all the right junk in all the right places. So if you're like, I need and want, big, comfortable living space, but I don't need all the shiny razzmatazz, because it's still basically built the same as an Alpine, Avalanche, Montana, Cougar, something like that. It just doesn't always have all the shiny things. So we're wide body, automatic leveling, the 0 to 100 degree weather package, the normal 220 watt solar package, the carpetless floor flush slides. But this model right here, it's a front bath and a half with, I think, one of the best middle laundry rooms I might have ever seen. If you are serious about having a dedicated laundry room, or if you want a place to have dedicated dog kennels, this model is absolutely fantastic. It could be a crazy good craft room. The kitchen's awesome. The kitchen is really big on this. I really like the dining bar. But the entertainment setup in the living room is a little odd for me. But again, Sprinter isn't necessarily made for everybody, and I don't have to like it. I'm not the one buying it. You might be. So I want to go through and show you the things that maybe I liked, the things that maybe I didn't, and put the rest on the table to let you decide. And remember, anything that I say is mostly just my opinion on things I like and dislike. And if you appreciate that, being fair, being candid, and letting you decide, and not telling you which one's the best, because I ain't no authority, hit that subscribe button. Let's see what's in there. And I am curious, what is your first impression as we step in here? This has a big, open, grand feeling. And when you walk in the door and you turn your head left, this is pretty much what you're going to see. I like the initial look at this. Now, the longer I spend time in this RV, I have a couple concerns. It might be something that not everybody necessarily loves. We already did our fast flyby footage. I'm actually going to give you a slightly slower flyby, and then we're going to go through and really hit up all the things in detail. I like this corner, or well, not even corner, but middle little desk space right here. And frankly, I don't even know if little desk space is an appropriate way to describe it. This is a multi-monitor capable functional desk area. Now you've got lots of drawers over there, but they're kitchen drawer sized. They're not office drawer sized, which is an important distinction, I think. But the pop-up power tower gives me the ability to power the things up that I need. The couple of USB plugs on there are handy. I'm always, recharging something. I do like all the campsite window coverage. I prefer folding armrests instead of the fixed armrest console that you have in this theater seat. But the biggest concern I have in the living room of this is the entertainment setup, which is tough because this is, I don't know, it's like a 60, 70 inch Jumbotron, dude. This is a massive entertainment area right here. And the TV can pivot, which is good because if you notice, what's straight across from the TV is the kitchen where I'm standing, and your sofas are to the left and right sides of the TV. So you're going to want to make sure you can pivot that TV. Again, it can do it. But everything I try to share is good news, bad news. I don't try to just gloss over concerns. I hope you appreciate that. The thing is, the middle room of this, if I was looking for a dedicated pet kennel space or a laundry space, this is amazing. Real quick, obviously, it has a half bath function. You got the little toilet here that is just massively fluffy friendly. And of course, you've got your sink space. Look at the high-rise kitchen sprayer faucet for this half bath. But again, being potentially a laundry room, that's also sort of useful. I love that they included that little mirror right there. We're going to come back and open all this, but they put some huge cabinetry up in here. And I get that just being on a flat 2-dimensional video, I don't know how well you can really see that. So I'll get all that open for you in just a second. But look at this down here. You have this huge countertop space. And then down below, you could either put a combo or side-by-side washer and dryer unit. And what I love about this is you could pull your laundry out and have a place to fold it right here. That is so stinking useful. I think that is a super, super underrated thing. And here's another thing a lot of people don't realize. Washer dryer units for RVs aren't, they don't always like to be bounced really hard. And if you think about how RVs are used, bouncing down the road, that's potentially a conflicting, problematic arrangement. Having the washer dryer hookups directly above the axles like this is the best location for the health of the washer dryer unit. So this, again, I think this is one of the best laundry solution setups I've seen in a long time. Now, there's some other brands that do some good ones. I've seen Sierra do some great stuff. Cedar Creek has done some amazing laundry models. You know, giving credit where it's due. Montana, their front bath, I don't even know if they're still making it, but Montana's front bath also was similarly very awesome. You might notice, though, we are outfitted with a triple air conditioner system today, and they look a little funny because they are all tied into the central ducting, and they all have residential air filtration systems built onto them, which is kind of cool. So let's start diving through this kitchen. It's massive. It's absolutely massive. I love the counter space. I love the dining bars. I am such a sucker for this, but it's such a big dining bar that, like, you could be sitting here, you know, with a plate of food in front of you or something like that and still have plenty of room to do whatever you need to do. And there is absolutely no shortage of cabinetry. That is a 16 cubic foot, 12 volt compressor fridge. I had to eyeball it for a second. Pardon me. When you see as many as I do, sometimes they bleed together. And I haven't had a chance to go through nearly as many sprinters. Like, I've been through a couple of them, but never had a chance to record one like this. So a lot of that, like, stuff where I'm just rolling from pure memory, it isn't just quite there on the surface. I got to kind of dig through the mental Rolodex a little bit for it. Now, remember I mentioned, you know, they have functional things. It's not always over-the-top luxury things. Like, they have a larger oven, similar to kind of like a Cougar, but this is a larger RV, more in the size of a Montana. That's kind of maybe another way to describe a Sprinter. If you took a Cougar and, you know, blew it up into the size of an Alpine, that's kind of what Sprinter is. Not exactly, but kind of what Sprinter is, if that helps you digest this a little bit. So like I said, that TV can pivot around, and sometimes people look at storage that goes all the way up to the ceiling like this. They're like, holy cow, dude, I need like a giant ladder to get up there. You do, but at least it's not wasted space. When manufacturers make cabinets that don't go up to the ceiling, it always just feels like a giant dust collector to me, you know? The converter fuse box right there, I think that's going to be a really smart location for it, because when these slides close, it won't be blocked. Like, you'll have to kind of slide between the, well, slides, but you can do it, and you can get to that thing, and you can access that if you need to replace a fuse. I didn't even open all the kitchen drawers here. There's so many going on. Let me get that guy open for you. Pretty solid. I like how they sanded down and finished the tops of those plywood drawers right there, so it's not a giant splinter factory. I will say you're going to want to get some kind of long totes for this kitchen storage, because it goes all the way to the sidewall beside the cabinets on the left right there. So it's a lot of storage, but it's not always easy to access if you don't plan ahead. Like, it can be solved for, I think, pretty reasonably. It is a huge microwave. It is not convection, but it is a residential size microwave. So, like, that's kind of the thing with brands like Sprinter. You are saving potentially tens of thousands off the luxury models. And if there's one or two little things you want to add preferentially, you can do that and still end up saving compared to some bigger models. But despite that, overall, even despite the funny, weird corner, this thing has a ton of storage space that I think is very, very functional. You know, again, you might want a 1 or 2 step stool to reach the top storage in that big pantry up there in the upper left corner. but the lighting is all in the right spot. I can see what I'm doing. They put the power outlets in the right places. Good spot for wastebasket down there. There was a lot of intelligent thought that went into the use and the function of this kitchen. I actually think the kitchen and the laundry are the two best parts of this camper. And once again, lots of drawer space around the desk area. They're not like file depth, like hanging file depth, but I mean, what are you gonna do? There's a look at that 12-volt compressor fridge right there. If you've seen a fridge, you've probably seen them all. Again, very, very solid campsite window coverage that we have going on over here. The camera might look like it's color changing. That's just the way that this thing interprets the light sometimes, so my apologies there. The way that we're looking at it right now is a little closer to the naked eye. Now, the entry door has a frosty glass window, so you can't really see out of it, but that doesn't really bother me because we have this giant window on the slide side over here. So like if someone's knocking on the door, I can peek around the corner and see, you know, who it is. Is it John Ritter from Three's Company? Probably not. I don't believe he's with us anymore, but, you know, you get the idea. There's a knock on the door. Okay, moving on. How do you feel, by the way, about the Tron lightsaber lighting across the ceiling? Like this one, they put the beams a little bit closer. It is very light and bright in here. I think could be argued that it feels a little bit sterile. I don't kind of mind that. I sort of like the bright cleanliness. One thing I have noticed though, and this is just an opinion, man, but I've been walking through this and out of the corner of my eye, I keep saying, ooh, we need to like mop the floor. It just, to me, it looks constantly dirty. You know, like when you have wet shoes and you have to walk across linoleum and it just leaves that signature. That's how this floor looks to me, even though that's not the case. Even though it's totally clean right now, it just doesn't look that way to me. I don't know. I'm also, I will tell you, I am not an interior decorator. So if you disagree and you're like, no, dude, that looks really cool, I'm going to just be like, all right, I totally respect and understand what you're saying because that's just not my skill set. So once again, we took a quick look up here, but taking another look through, one of the things I told you I would do in this room is open all the storage that we have up here. And it always has a little bit more of an impact to me when I see it both open and closed. And I get that we're on kind of a funky angle on this thing, but it helps you. You know, it's the best I can do. One thing I did find is I found an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that kind of shows you how this thing was built out. And one thing I noticed on here is one of the apparently available options is an actual factory installed washer dryer. So if you want the, you don't want to have to do it after the fact. If you want it installed from the factory and thereby covered by the factory warranty, you actually could get one of these built out from the factory with the washer dryer unit installed, which is, it seems like more and more things are doing that. Like I remember the Impression 360 MYR did that, which was one of the most like, that RV had one of the most house-like turnkey, ready to move in feelings I think I've ever felt from an RV. Now I'm at kind of a backwards angle to showcase this for you, but the sliding pocket bathroom and bedroom privacy doors both have a latch system. So a lot of sliding doors, you can't really lock and maintain privacy. You just sort of feel like you have privacy. These you can actually lock down, which is kind of a nice touch. We're looking at their, I think it's a 72 by 80 king bed, but if I'm not mistaken, this could be a queen. And I do believe I was correct, because if you look at this bed base, this is a 60-inch wide bed base, residential queen width base. If you want to change this king to a queen, all you have to do is trim down some of that plywood under the bed and then put in whatever queen mattress you would want. And that will give you more space to walk around the bed too. I did notice both sides of the bed have some USB plugs built right into the slide. And if I get this down out of the way, both sides of the bed also have some household outlets. Now, the little side stands built onto the slide fascia, well, they're just that. They're little, but they're going to be just enough for a phone, you know. If you're a CPAP user, you might want to go to the queen bed to give you some room to put, a little stand and a machine or something next to you. Now, this, again, Sprinter series doesn't have all the luxury details that some of the other things do. It doesn't have a factory standard second TV in the bedroom, but you got a big spot up there if you want to put one. Or, I don't know, maybe you want to put a mirror or just decorate that wall. Nothing says that you necessarily have to make it a what do I want to say, a television evening entertainment wall, but you could. And in the bedroom here, you don't have any dedicated hanging space, but you have a sextuplet pairing of big dresser drawers, and that storage actually continues all the way up that wall into the bathroom. And really, my only critique and or notes here, two things. No place to put a wastebasket directly in the bathroom, especially a bathroom apparently intended for two people, which I draw that conclusion based on the fact we have the dual sink, the dual lavatory, which actually is my second note. I'm not a super big fan of dual sinks in RVs. Now, this is a big enough bathroom that I think two people actually could occupy it at the same time, but I haven't heard a lot of people say that's a really important thing for them. And it just, if one of the sinks wasn't here, it would get rid of so much of the plumbing down below and create a more functional space for a wastebasket. But that's just one of those things that I always get hung up on that. And back at the bedroom door that walks into the bathroom, I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but just to give you frame of reference, it is white on white. Everything looks very washed out. Let me get you up just a little bit closer there to give you a little more of a natural view of this thing. I mentioned in the bedroom you don't have any hanging closet space. You might be going, well, where is it? Well, it's all the way in the nose of the RV. But real quick before we get there, I want to get you over here into the toilet and shower space. You see that you have a very tall linen cabinet space there. As long as you're putting soft goods like towels in, the open face stuff will work just fine. The porcelain foot flush stool here, I mean, I don't think you could hope to have more room around it. And even despite wearing my shoes and my hat, I found myself very comfortably, easily able to navigate that bathroom up there. That did not feel too awful bad. Then you get up front to this thing here and you have just like a literal walk-in closet. Now, again, I don't like to use fisheye wide-angle lenses, so some of the viewing here is going to get a little bit tight. The front the front walk-in closet of this thing reminds me a lot of a Cougar 355 in a lot of ways. Like you've got, it's very symmetrical. The left and the right sides are the same. You have these open pockets right here. I think that could be really nice for like a very large laundry hamper. I almost want to say it could be a private front office space. The counter's adequate for that. Your power outlets are there, but it doesn't have any sort of air conditioning up in this room directly. The AC system stops when you get, it stops at the bathroom where I'm standing right now. And being wide body, this has a full width hanging rod right here. One thing I want to check is this anchored and secured? Okay, good. Here's a shopping pro tip for you. When you see a really long hanging rod like this with a center support, grab it and yank on it a little bit. I'm not saying like hang your body weight off of it. Some manufacturers don't actually anchor this into anything in the roof construction. It's only screwed into a thin sheet of Luan, and if you actually load clothes in this, it will rip out. I know because I watched my mother do that in an RV years ago. So that was one of those things I went, okay, log that in the memory bank because one day that will come back to be a useful little trivia bit of information. And, I don't claim to be an authority. I definitely don't know all of it, guys, but I've been doing this a long time, so there's a lot of those little pitfalls that I've learned to look for over the years. Oh, before I forget, the bathroom vent fan is more of the smaller vent fan variety. Short of that, I think we're good to close this thing up for travel. The trick with a model like this is the road mode travel access is not great. Just to put it in simple plain English, this is a portable destination model, which sounds really funny, but what I mean by that is like if you're going down the road, you need to make a quick potty stop. Like you got the bathroom here in the half bath laundry, which I do like this room. I like this room a lot. But short of that, anything else like your kitchen space is not really accessible. Like we can walk down here between these slides. And in case you were curious, the stools that we saw, they are supposed to kind of strap down to the chairs here in transit. And pro tip, where they're going to kind of rub together, get something to act as a buffer. It really helps them avoid unnecessary rubbing and damage. But when it's closed up, we can't really get to the fridge. You would have to open this slide to regain any useful travel stop function. Now, to be fair, if you can open up those big outdoor stable steps, you can open this slide. There should be enough room for it. But by default, there's not really great road mode access without moving the slide. So if you appreciate the candid look at these, the fair approach, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll hop outdoors. Now, when I see some of these big giant fifth wheels, it's actually weirdly common that I run into RVs that have a concerningly low cargo capacity. Like this thing is a little bit over 42 feet tip to tail. She big. And it's about 12,400 pounds, which actually, especially for a wide body, feels strangely light. But they really didn't chintz on like the running gear and everything. This has almost 4,000 pounds of cargo capacity. And it's kind of long been my experience, just through observational evidence over the 16 plus years that I've been doing this, RVs with a heavier cargo rating tend to be RVs that stay out of the shop because I don't think their structures are getting overworked, you know what I mean? And just in case you weren't sure, they make sure you know this is wide body by calling it Sprinter wide body. And they do that because Sprinter didn't always used to be wide body. Actually, what's interesting, Sprinter is the original Keystone camper. The very first name Keystone ever produced was Sprinter. So it's literally the longest standing member of their lineup. You do have a shock dampening pin box. I noticed, interestingly, it doesn't have like a road armor suspension package. So you'll want to kind of keep that in mind. And they, obviously you see where the spare tire is located right here. So, you know, it keeps it out of the front compartment bay. There's part of me that likes it stored in the front compartment bay. Cougar does that a lot. But if you do have a flat tire, and you need to open that baggage door to get the tire out, it's actually really hard when you're hooked up to the truck. So having it belly mounted but dead at the front of the RV actually is not a bad spot for it now that I think about it. I'm not really upset with it here. This side of the RV looks really interesting with just the slide placements. It's just not a typical thing that you see from a lot of RVs, you know. We do have dual sewer hookups. You can see that you have your bathroom and half bath, black and gray in the front. Then you have your kitchen dedicated gray in the back. So this RV actually does have multiple separate gray tanks for a large total gray tank capacity. On-demand water heater right there, that should be in the 60,000 BTU variety. And it's small, but it is an enclosed docking center. So, I mean, I'm going to give them credit for it. I don't know that it needs to be any larger than that to be an effective docking center. You might have noticed how these are running cable slides all the way through. That's probably one of the ways that Sprinter has managed to keep their weight down to a surprisingly low level. Compared to rack and pinion slides, cable slides are a significantly lighter weight system. And because the RV is lighter weight, they were able to effectively use a electric leveling system. When you start going up into your full-blood Montanas and big Alpines, you'll start running into the like 6-point hydraulics. This looks to be a, I think, a 4-point electric. This is a long RV for a 4-point electric, but again, considering it's a lighter weight rig, that might actually still work out just fine. Now, it's funny because it looks like they shortchanged the front awning because you see so much naked wall space, but it's because it has such a long upper deck, you know, with that front bath and a half kind of arrangement. You've got a big awning right here, plus the awning on the face of the slide back there, which is actually extended a little bit from most awning slide outs. So your awning space on here is pretty fantastic, all things considered. Now, they don't do a drop frame storage compartment, but look at this. Tell me that's not a really large storage area. And here's the thing. Usually in transit, oh, hello, motion lighting, thank you. Oh, and I am seeing that it is forced air heated in this cavity as well. That's what that little black circle is up there in the heat plenum. But what I was getting at, when you're traveling, you tend to pack cargo side by side. You don't typically stack cargo on top of one another unless you've already created a layer of cargo at the bottom. So a wide storage compartment like that may actually be more functional and give you more actual storage capacity as compared to a very tall drop frame storage area. I will also say, I really like the different variety of steps that they're putting on here, you kind of feel like, oh, I've seen one set of stable steps, I've seen them all. The trick with most stable steps on RVs is they have, how can I say this? Like, they don't have a lot of ability for each leg to adjust individually, but I noticed this one works a little differently. And I'm not sure how well this is going to translate to camera. I've never tried this one before, but if you listen to this, as I pull this down, you hear how many individual little clicks it has. That means that each leg can, better marry up to the ground on weird, adverse conditions. So if you're not exclusively park pavement camping, the step isn't going to get all herky-jerky on you nearly as easily on one of these. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's going to be hard. That is an anti-slam door, by the way. That's why you don't see a little plastic clasp holdback on that baggage door. Good campsite window coverage off the living area. Up top, you might notice 1, 2, 3 air conditioners. This does have the ability to have a third AC from the factory on here, which is becoming more and more common, very popular for the larger, hotter climates. Now, while we're also talking about the, sorry, I got weirdly short of breath right there. Got kind of lightheaded. Probably just some weird hypertension thing I got going on. I don't know. But the roof, you do have a 220 watt solar package. And on the back, despite the length of this thing, it still has a full factory towing package. So 3,000 pound towing hitch with safety chain hooks and 4-way wiring harness. This is a really long RV to consider doubles towing, but that also means if you just wanted to add a cargo pod or a generator tray, maybe one that also has tail lights built onto it that works in conjunction with your brake lights, you'd still be able to do that too. So there you go. Let me know what you think about this one. Did they nail it? Did they fail it? I'd be kind of curious to know what you think. In the meantime, I'll leave you links in the video description to double check things like pricing and availability. I don't think we have sprinters at a lot of our locations, but I know we have one at least right in the Midwest, like in Indiana, not really far from where these things are built. So let's say you're in California. If a local California dealer had a sprinter that you wanted, they have to pay the factory to get it shipped over to them. In the same way, our Indiana store could just ship it over to you. And because you're not going back and forth with the shipping, you're not really eating extra shipping. So we can pretty much park these just about anywhere you want, even if we don't have a local store for you. But you might wonder what one of these might be running. Double check the links in the description. I'll also look up a couple other things, whether it's Pinnacles, Influences, whatever, who maybe have a similar floor plan, perhaps with a fancier trim package. Take a look at a couple of those and let me know which one you'd prefer. And next time, well, assuming you hit the subscribe button, we'll catch you next time. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.